Hello, everyone. Hi. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you, Patricia, for this third webinar. So my name is Marion and I work for a multi-bureau in Brussels. I'm part of the organization of this Smile at Week dedicated to well-being at work. So today is actually the last day of this event, and this is the last webinar. So I hope you're ready and you enjoy the program of this week. And also I hope you got a lot of tips and tricks on how to improve the quality of your work life. Today is also the second part of this webinar focusing on the Toltec agreements. If you weren't there yesterday, don't worry. The replay will be available next week on multibureau.com. And before we start, I will ask everyone to turn off their microphone and camera until the end of the webinar, where you will be able to ask questions and give your remarks. So yeah, it's now time for me to leave the talk to Patricia, who will give us insight for a happy and successful work life. Enjoy.
Thank you, Marion, thank you. So yes, here I am again. I don't know if you have followed the webinar yesterday about the two first agreements. So of course, in this seminar, we speak about Smile at Work and we speak about the 4 agreements, but mostly on the work floor. We are going to see which are the insights for a happy and a successful work life. We are again together today, so I'm just going to introduce myself, but very quickly. I'm Patricia. I'm from Belgium in Brussels. I'm a mother of 2, happily married for 15 years now, and I started my company in coaching and workshops 3.5 years ago. So thank you, Multibureau, for giving me this opportunity. I really love giving the webinars until now and today, and thank you all the ones that are here today. It's Friday, a rainy Friday, but together I'm quite sure we can find some sunshine, in the words of Don Miguel Ruiz. So the 4 agreements we saw yesterday: be impeccable with your words and don't take anything personally. I hope you liked it, and I hope you had the chance already to think about it and see how you can, of course, make these agreements for yourself today, and how you can change that into your life and into your job, of course, to have a better life everywhere you go. So what we are going to see today is don't make assumptions and always do your best. So everyone, of course, lives are made of assumptions. And actually every day when we rise up in the morning until we go to bed at night, we make assumptions. And it can be very simple things like yesterday we could hope and think that the sun would come up today, or it can be like next week will be as good as this week, etc., etc. We do assumptions all the time, and it's not really a problem as long as it's for little stuff. You can, of course, assume that if you go out of your house, your car is going to work, and that you can drive at work, and that everyone is going to be there. But those are assumptions, and of course it's mostly right when we speak about things like that. But again, sometimes we make assumptions that we would need to check. So the thing with assumptions is that we do some and that we don't realize that we believe them. So if you say, I'm going out to go to my work and take my car, you assume that your car is going to work, and you believe that it's of course going to be like that. So there is something I would like to do before we go on. It's to make a difference between a belief and an assumption. A belief that you have is often speaking about previous experiences that you have. Assumptions, it's different, is more a logic, something that we think is true, but you have never experienced it. It's just like every day again, we make assumptions and assumptions. So now that we speak about this, I don't know if you already are able to think for yourself and ask yourself if you make assumptions. When we make assumptions, we have to know that it's actually a habit. It becomes a habit. And the more we assume without being conscious, without being aware, the more we continue to assume. And so, of course, sometimes it's positive, but sometimes it can really be a problem. So, for example, of what happens when we assume, when you walk in the streets, let's say that you work in a building with lots of different companies, so you cross people sometimes in the elevators or everywhere. And so it might be that one day you cross someone in the street and one person looks at you and smiles at you. And suddenly you are going to assume why he's smiling. It's maybe just to say hello, but you can build a whole story in your head and you can dream about or create a real fantasy in your head. And so that's the problem, is that when we assume something, we are really going to create a fantasy, and based on that fantasy we can take actions, or things can happen and make the reality change. So it's very important when we assume something, we have to say, like, I don't know why he's smiling, maybe there is a reason, maybe it was to a person next to me, maybe, etc. We don't really know, and it's not because someone smiles at you that he wants, for example, to get married with you, or I don't know what. So in the fantasies, we can go very far, and we of course have to be very careful about that. We also have to be very careful when we want to, for example, launch a business. So here you have a person that jumps into a crowd and he assumes that people will catch him. So it can be the same if you want to change your career and you want to launch yourself as an entrepreneur, create a startup. You just launch yourself and you say, oh, it's easy, I will be able to do that. And you don't really think, some people really do that, you don't think about everything that goes on with just starting your own company. And so, of course, we need to think about that and to analyze, to be certain to, well, have the right idea, have the right concept, find the right direction, make the right decisions, and see how we can move on. So good business is always based on good information. And if we make assumption, especially on the workspace, it can be a very big mistake because we don't really know. And it happens a lot, really a lot. So instead of guessing, we should better ask ourselves, what do I have as fact? What do I have as information? Who can help me? Where can I ask my question? Asking questions before going into something is of course one of the solutions, and it's better to learn about situations before just jumping into it. So here you have a cartoon, and I really liked it because it speaks very well. So of course we need to check the reality and see if our assumptions are correct. If you need to make a project or you handle a budget, I hope for you and the company you work for that you check out the reality, because a lot of companies today are just making assumptions for the future. They don't really check if it's a reality, and then, well, or it happens very well and then it's fine for them and nothing happens, but it can also go the totally wrong way. So here is how it happens. So it's a tool actually to visualize and evaluate how our assumptions go. So the first thing is that you assume something, and then you assume something and then you will believe it. When you believe it, you will think, you will have an idea. Sorry, that's my dog. So you will have the idea to create something, and you are going to take an action, and your action will be based on an assumption. So sometimes it can be okay and it can work out very good. So then it's fine and go on like that. But sometimes it can really not turn out good. So an assumption will not lead to action will not always lead to action. It can also lead to inaction. For example, I'm doing a lot of job coaching and follow people for their careers, and then some people come to me and they say, like, I'm working there for 5 years, I never had a raise in salary, and well, actually, I think other people have it, but maybe today they don't have the budget and I will never get it. So the idea is that I don't want to lose my job, and I am not going to be the one that asks for everything all the time. So I'm not going to ask for a raise in salary. And so you assume that you will not get it. You assume that the company you work for cannot give you a raise. But actually, if you go and if you ask the question, sometimes it works. So it's very important to go back to what you do or not do. You see what are you doing or not doing, and you go back to see, why am I doing this and why am I not doing this? Is it an assumption, or is it really something real? Did I hear something? Did I already ask to have a raise in salary and it didn't work out? Or what's the real story behind it? So it's the same, like if you launch a new product on the market, you can just launch it and see what happens, but you can also ask yourself, what do I assume the market needs and what is it in reality? If you want to create a solution for your startup, you can ask yourself, do I really need it? Is it really going to help me? So today, if you have your customers, your clients, you can assume that they are happy, but you can also send an evaluation form and see if they really like it and how you could eventually improve things. So it's the same for if you ask your customers to pay for something, you can assume that if they pay, they are happy with the price. But actually, if you ask the question, well, you will really know. And it can be, of course, again, in an evaluation form, and you can ask to a lot of people, then you really know, and it's based on something, and you will really have facts in your hands to be able to take the good decisions and to go into the right direction. So it's the same like if you are on the market and on the Belgian market and you have a very good solution, you can think like, I'm the only one who have this on our market, but maybe not. So just Google and go and try to find all your competitors, try to find a lot of information, and then you will build a real business case, something very strong, I must say, to be able to, of course, succeed in what you want to launch. So in business and in life, of course, it's better to know the real deal than to play a guessing game. And how do you know that? How can you do that? Well, instead of playing a guessing game, you just ask questions and you just try to learn more things about the situation. Questioning brings clarity, and so of course everything will be better if it is between two people, a relationship, or again between for decision-making processes that are ongoing in your company. Communication really is key. So how to communicate? Of course, it's not always easy, especially if you are in a difficult situation or if you have a question about something delicate. But if you know how to go to people, if you know how to speak in a very constructive and positive way, I think there is no subject that you cannot take with you in your company. So for example, if you are feeling frustrated about something because, for example, you have not support enough from your management, well, you can go and say, I have a bad management and they don't support me and I don't have enough input, blah, blah, blah. But you can also just go to them immediately and say like, I feel super frustrated, I'm new here, and actually I don't feel super comfortable because I need more structure, I need to know better your procedures, and I really need a helping hand from you. And so the way of communicating, the way of saying things is going, of course, to improve and to allow you to go to the right people. It's the same as if you have something to say, just don't go make the tour of the company or your workspace to speak about what's going on with you to everyone. Just go to the right person immediately and just speak about it, but in the right way. If you think that, or if you are afraid that you will have a very bad evaluation, and if it starts like 1 month before your evaluation, don't sleep bad for 1 month. Just go to the person who is going to give the evaluation and tell him that you feel really scared and that you would love to already have a little chat about it, so that you can decrease the fact that you feel like that and that you can go on for the next month. It's not necessary to stay in a very hard or difficult situation. It's better to communicate. So these kind of conversations you can, of course, prepare, because it's important to delete, not to delete, but to be aware of the emotions that you have and to put them out of the conversation, just to be constructive again, and to speak about facts and to see how you can improve. So you have to be certain that the conversation is clear. It's very important, and of course that your request also is very clear. So when we look at this agreement, don't make assumptions. It may seem difficult because it's a habit and we do it all the time, but it is something that you have to practice, and it can become a new habit. So you can, this webinar, I just plant a seed in your mind, and from now, every time that you assume something, you will maybe think, oh, I'm assuming. So it's not all the time that you have to change the things, no, but just be conscious again of how your mind is activated every day and how things go in your head. So understanding is, of course, not enough. Just understand this concept of disagreement, but try to practice and try not to make assumptions. If you are at work, if you have like a colleague that is not arriving at 8 o'clock, if at 9 he's not there, don't think like, oh, he must be asleep. No, we never know what happens. Don't assume, don't ask the others. Try to call him, try to see, are you okay? What's happening? We are waiting for you for 1 hour. And actually there might be really something happening. So don't assume that it's just like his wake up clock didn't go off or on, or, you know. So you can change very little things every day, and it will improve, of course, all of your life. So now we are going to the last agreement, and actually this last agreement, always do your best, is a very important one, because it has a very big role to play in regarding the other 3 agreements. So if you have heard everything I said yesterday and today about don't make assumptions, well, as from now, if you do your best to try to practice and to have these agreements, well, it's perfect. It doesn't have to be more than that. So I think it's the first idea is that you are going to try and you are going to learn to practice, and so you are already doing your best. So it's actually the one, always do your best, that allows the other 3 to become deeply ingrained in our habits. So always do your best. I put the accent on do, and it's very important because we need to have the action. Of course, you can think, you can talk, you can write things down, and you can understand the concept. But if you don't do it, if you don't practice, then nothing will happen. So when you do your best, the first thing, of course, to do is to really do it. So to implement the thing. So, of course, be gentle with yourself. and try to not judge yourself and take small steps. If you have a difficulty or a situation that is difficult for the moment at work or in your life, it doesn't matter where, just try to see what small step can I take today to make it improve. Write down eventually the things that you have in mind and see how you can move on one step at a time. But first of all, try to do something, even if it's only taking a pen and a paper and write down the situation, to put it out of your head and to see it more as a story and not a very big difficulty. And then you can be able to make a plan and to see how you can get out of it. So always do your best is doing, of course, and then you have always do your best. And so that's very, very important, and it is something that changes and evolves all the time. Because this morning, of course, you woke up and you were in energy. So if I ask you to go to a customer and to show some new product and to be very excited about it, etc., at 9 o'clock in the morning, well, there is a big chance that you have still all your energy and that you will have a very good meeting, a very good entertaining meeting or a sales meeting, whatever. If I ask you to do that at 4 p.m. on a Friday, well, I guess your mood will be different. And so, of course, the quality of your best will be different also. So your best can have high quality times, and sometimes it will not be as good as it is. And it's okay, everything is okay. Your best can change from one moment to another, and your best can change from one day to another. It's depending on our mood of the moment, and so we have to accept that it's our best. If something happens in your private life and you have to digest something and it's difficult, of course you are not going to deliver the same work quality than if everything is fine in your life. So it's very important to see that first we do the things and then we do what we can do. If I have 2 children, if I ask my 2 children to, for example, go ride their bikes, they are 9 and 7, well, they can do their best, but they will not do it in the same way, because of course they have different moods already, and they have different characters and different competences, if I can say it like that. So your best today or your best yesterday is of course different. The most important thing is to keep on doing your best and to understand that you are doing your best. If you do your best in any circumstance in your life, then you will never judge yourself anymore. You will just have the opportunity to live your best life, to love and to be happy and to work in the best work environment you can have, because you will do your best, and so you will be happy with yourself. So take action is of course a very important one. And when you take action, what you have to understand here is that you could say like, I have a situation in my work environment, I'm not happy to go at work, and I do my best because I go at work. Well, actually, no, that's not right. The thing is that Don Miguel Ruiz explains us that doing our best is also going into the fact that we do things that we really enjoy and that are good for us. So a lot of people go to work every day just thinking of the payday, but they really don't like their job. So of course they are into the action, but they don't like their job. So that's not at all something that is going to make you happy. You have to do your best and do the things that are going to put you in joy and give you joy. So if you can accept that, you will take responsibility for what's happening and you are going to be able to change the things. So action is actually living about, it's about living fully, and inaction is the way we deny life. So it's just, you have to express actually who you are by taking the right action, and the action that is going to give you joy. You have to let go of the past and live in the moment, live in the now, and see, am I taking some joy out of it? Is it nice? Am I smiling? Am I happy about this? Yes or no? We are all born to be happy, all, so me, you, everyone, and we are born with the right to love and to be loved, and we are alive, so we should take that in our hands and we should enjoy it. When we want to say no, we should say no. When we want to say yes, we should say yes. So it has to be true and it has to be right for us and give us joy. We can only become and live a good life when we are who we are and when we can really express who we are. So don't force anything and don't do things that are going to put you down. So the last thing I want to say is that, of course, so those are the 4 agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz. And so today, depending on what you thought about it, of course, you can decide, and it's really a decision, it's a choice to change your agreements. So you can decide, of course, to be impeccable with your word. You can decide to not take anything personal any longer, personally. Of course, you decide to do your best about this. You cannot decide and it will not be perfect today when we stop the webinar. No, it's an agreement that you will change things, that you will do your best, that you will be careful with not making assumptions anymore, that you will try to not take anything personally anymore, or that you will, when you hear it or when you see it, that you will decide to do something about it, to move on and to live with it, integrity, I would say, in your own life. So you can really transform your life, but you have to practice. And so do your best. If you take those 3 first agreements and then you do your best, when then, of course, you are going to be able to remain gentle with yourself. So defend these 4 agreements. Keep your attention on today, on now, on this moment. Just live in the day and in the time. Always do your best to keep these agreements, and soon then it will be very easy for you. So today is the beginning of something new. Make new agreements and well, enjoy your life at work and at home, everywhere, more than ever. So if you have questions, of course, you can ask me. And what you can also do is mention eventually in the chat your opinion about this webinar. So you can say, was it interesting? Did you learn something? Just write down, if on a scale from 0 to 10, what are your thoughts? How much did you appreciate or not this webinar? Just write down some things. And now we are going to have a little questions and answers. If someone has questions, you can just open your mic or ask Marion or me to open your mic, and you can pop up with some questions. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Patricia. So does anyone have questions? Yeah, Nadia wrote, don't make assumption. It was the message. Thank you.
So don't hesitate. You can write me an email and ask for the presentation if you want to receive it. Then you can put your email address here in the chat box, and I will send you a mail immediately if you like. So don't hesitate to don't hesitate to open your mic and to ask something. I know it's always difficult for the first person to pop up the first question. So don't be afraid. Just go and talk to us if you have something you want to talk about. We have 15 minutes to remain together. if you want. So it's really, we have 15 minutes for you, and you can really enjoy those moments to ask your question about all the 4 agreements, so, and how you can apply them at work or in your life. Yes, so as I can see in the chat box, some are open to practice, so it's very good.
There's a question in the chat.
There's a question, how to not feel guilt while the other is not open to communicate? Well, first of all, there are 2 things that I would like to say, is that if the other one is not open to communicate, unfortunately, you cannot change the others, and you cannot force a discussion with someone else. So what I would say is, don't feel guilty, because obviously you want to have a discussion, but maybe you can go and share this with someone and see how you could take the subject or the difficulty to him in another way, or to the person in another way. If they are not open for discussion, and you did try, you can check how you tried. Did you send an email? Did you try verbally? What did you say exactly? And maybe there is another way to try, or a better moment. For example, when you want to communicate something to someone, if someone, for example, entered my office right now, well, I'm in the middle of something, I cannot communicate. So maybe it's a little bit the same for your person, I don't know. But so try to find the perfect moment to communicate, and try to ask, can we speak about this? And then maybe the fact, if you say it's very important to me because I struggle with this or this, then maybe the person will be more open to communicate if you are speaking about your own feelings. If you feel guilty, then of course it's a very difficult emotion to feel. Then maybe you might want to go to a coach, or you can contact me and we can discuss this, because you cannot force a communication. So if you remain with the problem, with the difficulty, then try to see how you can solve your problem for you, how you can lose the weight of this problem. So I hope, Nadia, this answers your question. Even, what can I do if I not feel fine? How can I do to motivate myself to do the best? Well, that's what I said, I think, in the first or 2 second slide. It's that it's a decision. So if you don't feel fine right now, of course, I just read this sentence. I don't know how you feel, and I don't know if it's physical or mental, or so I don't really know. So what I would say is that try to see everything as a path. It's your path in life, and so there are obstacles on our way. If until now it was difficult and you were not able to move on, well, maybe you can accept first your emotion, and you accept that you don't feel fine. It's okay not to feel fine, really. So take care of yourself first. You can do something that you really like. For example, you take a hot bath, or you go buy some strawberries. Do something to feel better. And once you feel better, then you can say, okay, this was nice. And then you can say, what do I want to do to feel better and to try to do my best? So the first thing is accept the fact that you don't feel fine. Accept that it can be hard. Everything is okay. We are all human beings, and it's one step at a time. And once you feel better, then you will be able to, for example, make a plan and see what you can do one step at a time to do your best and to improve the things. So, voilà. I hope this answers your questions, Yvonne. Stephanie, sometimes it feels like I'm doing my best, but the other person, people, boss, partner don't think it's enough. So here, Stephanie, again, it's I just see what you write, and I don't know your story. So what I would say when I read this is the first thing is, did the person, the other person, the people, your boss, your partner, mention that to you? Because it's very important that if all those people think it's not enough, is it an assumption from you or not? And so if you feel that you are doing your best, but at the same time you have these feelings like I'm not doing good, you can change that, and you can go to that other person, to the people, to your boss, to your partner, and ask questions. It's very, very hard in the first moments. The first times you are going to ask, do you think I'm doing a good job, or do you really like how we are at home? I see you mentioned your partner. Or you can just ask questions and see how those people are going to reply. Often when you speak about yourself, people will reply. If you say, I feel like I'm doing my best, but I also feel very insecure about so many things, I would love to have your feedback. I'm quite sure everyone would give a feedback. Of course, if you ask for a feedback, then I hope that the people you are asking feedback to are nice enough to give you a truthful or right feedback, but in a nice way. So if you feel that you are doing your best, but you have insecure emotions, ask questions to check the reality. Voilà. I don't know if this answers your question, Stephanie. Otherwise, you can, of course, ask another question.
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. If someone else wants to ask a question. If you have no question, what is very important for Multibureau and for myself is to know if you liked this webinar, of course. So in the chat box, you can say on a scale of 0 to 10, how happy you were or not with the webinar. So if you say 0, it's a disaster. I need to see everything again. If you say 10, then it means that you were very happy with the webinar, and voilà. So thank you. The first time.
Already a 10.
Exactly. So don't hesitate to mention and to write down your opinion. You can also give an opinion on Google about my workshop, and you can also write me an email if you want me to send you the presentation. So thank you for your notes, the four ones who have written it. So I see a lot of other people. Don't hesitate to mention your store, and don't hesitate to ask questions. We still have 6 minutes to go, so we are together. I'm here for you. And so take this moment to enjoy, to be together, and to ask the questions that you have in your mind for the moment. It can be a work question, of course, related to your work, but it can also be something related with your life. So, whatever you have in mind that pops up, a question that you have, you can ask anything. Thank you for writing down your notes. Marion, maybe you have a question?
I have no question, but I wanted to say that I was very, very happy with these 2 webinars because, as you said, it's a process and it's something that is very personal. So if you want to improve your life, whether it's private or personal, it's something really you have to initiate. So I think it was really, I have to say, I didn't read the book yet, so I will do, because I thought, I thought it was very interesting to see how you can apply this to your private life, also your personal life, and it can also give you the opportunity to step back and to look at what you're doing, how you are feeling, and to try to make these little things to improve your life and to improve the way you feel. And I think that's something that we all want to do at the end. So yeah, I was very happy. Thank you.
Welcome. And I see that Saba writes down the book changed my life, and indeed I can confirm mine too. And for those who want, it exists in Flemish, so in Dutch, De Vier Inzichten. It exists in English, The Four Agreements. And then, well, I gave my book away this morning in a coaching. So I cannot show you the French version, but Les Accords Toltec in French exist also, so you can find what's best for you. And I think it might be translated in much more languages, as Don Miguel Ruiz is from, I think, Mexico. So I guess it must be translated in a lot of different languages.
Yeah, I think it was translated in a lot of languages. Okay, I don't think we will have any more questions.
No.
But we had some notes, so that's nice. Yeah, we'd like to thank you again for joining us on this Smile at Work week. And I hope everyone enjoyed the program. And also I wish you everyone a very nice afternoon and a good weekend after that. And yeah, as I said, all the replays will be available on the website next week. So, voilà. Thank you.
Well, have a very pleasant weekend. And again, Multiburo, thank you for everything. I really love doing these webinars. And so, voilà, we'll meet again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Patricia. Bye.